Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Booming with Bella. I'm your host, Bella Lainez, and today, ahorita, we're gonna talk about an album and a guy that I have been mentioning for like a year. Actually, since 2023. So I guess since it's 2025, maybe like a year and a half. Over a year. I think I first started listening to this guy in October of 2023. So it's been about a year and a couple months. I'm just realizing how ironic it is and coincidental that I started listening to him in October of 2023, and then in October of 2024 is when this album really came into rotation, like non-stop. So that's just, wow. Okay, cool, I guess. That being said, before I tell you who it is, why not keep you on your toes? Go ahead and make sure you're following Booming with Bella on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Twitter, anywhere. If you're watching, hey, subscribe, like, do what you gotta do. And if you're listening, also do the same. Subscribe wherever you're listening, like, leave a 5-star review to help push Booming with Bella out to more people. And without further ado, today's episode is about Primera Musa by Omar Courtz. So, Primera Musa came out, I believe it came out in August. September 20th, 2024. Okay, I thought it came out in August, but I guess not. But I was still a month late. But Omar Courtz, I've talked about him here on Booming with Bella. I've talked about his song with Daddy Yankee. The song is called Beachy. I've talked about him in the song Cuerpo a Cuerpo with Wisin. I was kind of like, these are some pretty big legends you have debut singles come out with. Or I guess not debut, but like debut really. Like at least that they started showing up on my Apple Music feed, where I was like, these are pretty big guys to kind of come out the gate swinging with. Who are you? Now we have his first debut album, Primera Musa. I have to say, it's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. Now, before I start going through the track list, I would like to apologize to any of my family, people who know me in real life, that are gonna hear me say these words, because they're the song titles on the album and it's just explicit and dirty. So I'm letting you know now, and I apologize, but there's like no way to work around it really. Take that up with Mr. Courtz himself, okay? I'm just repeating. So, that being said, Primera Musa came out in September, and so I listened to a few interviews that he did on his press tour. I looked at like kind of the bio that he gave Apple Music about it, and in that he says that he felt in Puerto Rico younger artists stopped delving into reggaeton. He wants to reignite the flame, and I guess it didn't click in my head that that had been happening. I don't know, I guess because it was so heavy from the bigger artists like Mike Towers, Fercho. We still had Bad Bunny, Raul Alejandro, still heavy reggaeton coming out. So I guess I didn't really think about it, but kind of like what he said was that like a lot of the younger guys aren't delving into reggaeton as much. Like guys from other country are, there's breakout stars from other countries, which is true now that I think about it. A lot of the reggaeton that I've been listening to has come from artists in Colombia, has come from Danny Ocean, Venezuela. Some of the up-and-comers haven't been from Puerto Rico. The up-and-comers from Puerto Rico have been getting more into like rap. So I thought that that was an interesting point, and it kind of made me appreciate the album even more. So yeah. Oh, and Spain too. Spain's another country that's getting bigger into reggaeton. You think of Quevedo, so he wanted to bring it back home. He says that in creating this album, he kind of thought of the muses and like the artists that he listened to as a kid. And there's definitely references to that throughout the album. He mentions Daddy Yankee, he mentions Zion and Lennox, La Zeta y la L. He mentions Wisin y Yandel. He mentions athletes, Puerto Rican basketball players, Puerto Rican baseball players. Feel Likes even mentions a couple like hip hop artists, but I know that like, at least from my perspective of listening to this album, there's a lot of United States hip-hop influences in this album. Because I like this album so much, I did in fact do a deep dive And you can see that throughout some of his older songs. La Mandita, specifically I'm thinking right now of Eso Es Un Vibe. He specifically calls out Biggie, but it has very much New York hip hop feel to that song. You can definitely see the infusions, and the album definitely does have a lot of like old school reggaeton influences in it as well. So it's kind of like an underlying mixture of old school reggaeton and old school hip hop, and then a layer of modernized genres. Reggaeton, Jersey Club, a little bit, dance, house, trap. The top layer is very modern, and then the bottom layer is very old school. I feel like that's a better way to put it. I just rambled for a second, tried to figure it out, but we made it. Also, Rihanna is a heavy influence. I got that. I don't know, some people I guess didn't get that, but I mean, he literally like samples work in Musa Leva. I'll talk more about that when we get to that song on the track list, but I could definitely see how Rihanna's music has also been an underlying influence throughout the rest of the album. Also, before going into the track list, some kind of things that I found out through an interview that's available on Apple Music on the Ebro show. In that, he kind of talks about how he's written a lot of music, which I kind of like. Now I want to know specifically like which songs he's written and which songs are like he's co-written or whatever, because the thing that I have learned about him, at least from my listening experience of his music, he's very witty. He's like funny. I'll listen to some of his lines and I'll giggle a little bit, but like at the same time it's really clever and like a hard bar. But I'm like, wow, I chuckled to myself. So I like that about him, and I want to know like if he gave any other artists like some of his witty liners. And I just didn't notice it because I didn't know who Omar Courtz was. He's worked a lot with Wisin and Yandel, so that explains the Wisin feature. He got signed to Pitbull's label, which now it makes sense. Literally so many things. I guess the first time I ever listened to Omar Courtz was in 2021 on the Ten Cuidado song with Pitbull, El Alfa, Farruko, Omar Courtz, I Am Chino, and Pitbull, but I didn't know it was him. I think like me and my sister would listen to that song as we were going to the supermarket, and I was like, yo, check out this song, it's really fun. Never really sought to look into who he was at the time, but so once I put two and two together, I was like, oh, that's why. Anyways, this album, there's definitely something for every kind of mood. He wants to have like a song for everything. Songs for girls, there's songs for the nightclub, the streets, and then like his stories are all kind of woven within. But without further ado, let's get into the track list. I swear to God, if this camera dies, I'll lose it. The first intro is Omar Courtz and Kendro Caponi. I really like it. So if I'm being completely 100% for real with y'all, I don't dislike any single song. There's definitely ones that I gravitate to more often than others, and there's definitely ones that I use the replay button like it's nobody's business. The intro has grown on me a lot. When I was first like adding this to my 2024 playlist, my 2025 playlist, my Get Ready With Me playlist, I was like, am I gonna listen to the intro? Then I would go back and I would listen to the album a few times and I was like, okay, yeah. Okay, add it. That one's more heavy, like, not heavy, but like more rap influence. Then we have Goddess, which is a little Jersey Club infused, okay? Which is why I was addicted to it for the longest time. There was a little bit of controversy with this, with the title of the song. I believe when it came out, it had a different name, but it has since become Goddess. I don't know all the details on that because like I said, I was late to listening. My fault. I was catching up on some other stuff. So I don't want to speak on that when I don't have all the facts. And I know that it was very muddled and it was very like gossipy, chismosa stuff on the internet. I am so sorry. So we had a little camera battery issue, and that's totally on me because I bought the camera and then I didn't buy a battery charger. So that's just on me, okay? And then I was busy. Then I was like, oh shit, I gotta finish recording the Primera Musa episode, but then I also need to get something out. So we're there to focus on editing the prior episode, and now here we are, Primera Musa. But we left off talking about Goddess. We were talking about the chisme surrounding ayo, surrounding the song. I was literally typing in chisme into my phone. The outro is completely gone from the song. I mean, the instrumental, the beat still kind of goes, but the words that he was speaking, gone. So interesting. Following that. Then we have Heavy. There's a part in the song where it kind of sounds like he's referencing Usher's Shawty, I don't mind. I don't mind. But I don't know if it was that or if it's a different song. But this one is like very much trappy rap. But I like it. And it has been one that I've found myself most recently, as of like 2 days ago, going to and listening to. We have the fourth song, Pienso en Sexo. Sorry. Again, I know I put a disclaimer again, but like, sorry to my family and friends who know me. Pienso en Sexo, and I like this one because it's very upbeat, it's dancey, and the outro is so fun. One thing Omar Courtz does not do is play about his outros. They are fire. There are multiple songs on this album where like the outro is part of my favorite part of the song, if that makes any sense. Pienso en Sexo is one of them. At the end of it, it gets very like housey. Like the beat also feels very like sparkly and like you're dancing around in like pink light. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm getting a visual and I hope the visual translates. The fifth song we have is Una Noti, and this is another one that's, I mean, honestly, so let me be for real with you. The first songs that I gravitated towards were Trepeo Cabron, Pienso en Sexo, Musa Deva, I think 2K16. I remember when I was first listening to it, I liked that song a lot, but then I remember not gravitating towards it for a while. Goddess and Sex Playlist 1. Those were the songs that I like gravitated towards immediately, but since then, Una Noti has been one that I have listened to a lot. This one's more reggaeton heavy. But following that, we have Musa Deva, which is kind of Afrobeats infused. Samples Rihanna, samples work by Rihanna and Drake. He does mention Drake in, I believe, ¿Qué vas a hacer hoy? But Musa Deva samples Rihanna and Drake's work. I really like this one. This might be one of my favorites because like every time I come back to it after not listening to it for a few days, I'm like, oh my god, I love this song. You know? Following Musa Deva, we have Trepeo K-B-R-O-N. That one featuring Davey, and I like this one because it's trap and giving me very like a little bit of like a dash of dance hall, a dash of reggaeton, and that's what I love. So I like this one. He had said on Apple Music that he wanted to show a different side of his personality. He also likes to record trap songs with artists that he respects, and that he and Davey apparently have a couple songs. I don't know if like he had included the verses that they did together on Verdad when he wrote this to Apple Music, but he chose this song because it's heavy duty and like the whole album spans different parts of his life, different sides of his life. So this one shows like that side. Going back to Musa Deva, he said in the Apple Music kind of description of the album, I guess, that he's loved Rihanna since his school days, and you know what? You and me both, bro. Like, I have her Unapologetic vinyl sitting in my vinyl collection, and I remember being like 12 or 14 religiously listening to that album, and like I had no business singing Love Without Tragedy, Mother Mary at the top of my lungs, dancing on my friend's bed. Like, but like, I get you. I get it. Same here. And Bassi, the producer on the song, shares kind of the same influences as Omar Courtz. They wanted to do something similar to like Afrobeats but still have a Puerto Rican touch. That's Musa Deva, which I actually really like because I feel like we're getting a lot of just like reggaeton artists going into Afrobeats, but they're not like sometimes they will add a little bit of like reggaeton influence into the Afrobeat. I think maybe that's why I'm so drawn to Musa Deva, because it's not like just Afrobeat. Don't get me wrong, I'll listen to anything Afrobeats. It's one of my favorite genres right now. Or has been for the past couple years. But anyways, I'm trying to do this fast because I have to feed my dogs and I have to feed myself. Following that is the 8th song in the album, Piensa en mí, featuring Luar La L. Now, I had a hard time with this song for a while, I would say. Not because I didn't like it or whatever. I just had a hard time adjusting to Luar La L's voice on reggaeton. I've grown to really like it and really like this song, but like I think I've had the Piensa en mí like chorus hook stuck in my head for like a few days now, but it definitely took some adjusting and getting used to for me, but again, I'm over it and I like it. Is it my favorite on the album? No, but I'm allowed to say one bad thing because I love 95% of this album. Then we have Polvos que no se olvidan. I like this song. It's very like pop dancey. So it's like it was kind of like easy on the ears, easy to gravitate towards. Enjoyed it. Then we have Interludio, which I've come to like. I think it's funny because he has a lot of like outros of like voicemails and stuff on his throughout the songs, and or like intros, I guess, because Interludio starts out that way, and it's very reminiscent to me of like hip hop in the States. And also like if you're not listening to the full song, like you're gonna write off those songs, but in Interludio he ends and like the last like at like a minute and the last like 2.5 minutes like are kind of fire. You just gotta make it in a little bit and then the rest of the song will be good. 2K16, I'm like with Bryant Myers, I just love it. I really don't know what else to say. I gravitate towards it a lot. I find myself gravitating or identifying mostly with Bryant Myers' verse, but also like Omar Courtz' first verse. It's also very like rappy. I like how like the album kind of shifts genres. Like you'll go from a trap rap song to reggaeton Afrobeat to dance to house, and I know that was kind of the perspective he wanted to show, like play around with all the different influences in his life. And again, like this whole album is about the things that inspire him, artists, like he mentions constantly artists that he looks up to. I guess like it was cool that at his debut album he's messing around with different genres. I hate saying the word genre now, like especially after Beyonce and Cowboy Carter. Linda Martell, genres are a funny little concept, aren't they? Because I mean, it's true. I don't feel like an artist who's passionate about making music should confine themselves to one specific genre. So I love that Omar Courtz is coming out of the gate like swinging and being like, you know what? You don't know if you're gonna get reggaeton from me. You don't know if you're gonna get trap from me. You don't know if you're gonna get hip hop rap from me. You don't know if you're gonna get Afro beats from me. Dance, house music, todo. You can do it all. Following 2K16, we have Si Te Gustan Las Gatas. This one is another one that like took a bit to grow on me. It's reggaeton. I like it. Lyrically wise, I think it's not as witty as some of his other songs are, but like it's a classic reggaeton song. Easy to play at any function. Maybe not a family function, but other functions. Then we have Alócate, which is in reference to Zion's Alócate. Zion on Lennox is one of his big influences, and I want to know which one he... La Z y la L. Which one he identifies with most, because I find myself identifying with Lennox. I don't know why. I just always have gravitated... Like, the same thing with Wisin and Yandel. I've always gravitated more towards Wisin. Jawel Lee Randy, I think I gravitate a little bit more towards Jawel. And then also Zion and Lennox, I gravitate a little bit more towards Lennox. I don't know. Let me know if you have anything similar or if that means anything in specific. Like, is there something that they all have in common that I'm not like, that's not like clicking for me right now that maybe means something? Let me know. But the album that Zion's Alócate is on was one of the first albums that Omar says that he bought with his own money. And this is his first album. So like, wow, look at that. That's connecting. Cute little moments. Here we go. And this is another one that I gravitate to now, but didn't when I first listened to the album. Sorry, it's been like 4 months, okay? Let me be. I guess because I didn't know like whether to just vibe to this song, whether to dance, whatever, but now I enjoy it. I play it mostly while driving, and now like the beginning like really sticks with me. Following that is Sex Playlist with Rauw Alejandro. I like a duet almost because they kind of go back and forth easily. To me, it's like It's like a classic reggaeton song, like the way that it wasn't like one verse, Omar verse once, chorus, Rao verse, chorus. There's no one chorus that belongs to one singular artist. It kind of is very much a collaboration, which I like. And the outro is funny. Another good outro, but this one is like a classic reggaeton song. You'll hear it in the club 100%, I'm sure. And it's just got like that a party vibe to it a little bit. Following that, we have Que Vas a Hacer Hoy with De La Rose, and this is one that was getting a lot of traction on TikTok, social media. Very, very catchy song. Has its own TikTok dance. I don't know who created it, but very much like big on social media. And this is one that for a minute I also didn't gravitate to. I'm sorry, I apologize. But now it's almost like a daily listen because for whatever reason, it can get you through like anything. Like I can listen to that song while I'm running. I can listen to it while I'm lifting. I can listen to it while I'm driving. I can listen to it while I'm getting ready. I can listen to it out. Just can't listen to it around my abuela. Or my dad. It's a good one. And it did open me up to De La Rose a lot more. There was one song I heard of hers on like a Spotify mix or something, and I wasn't a crazy huge fan of it. But this one I think definitely shows just how distinct her voice is and how it harmonizes and the melodies that she's capable of, and just kind of like the feminine touch to all of these like heavy rapper songs that I feel like is low-key needed. And she's also like hard, and there's cleverness, and I don't know, I've grown to like her a lot, and I think I have to credit that to this song. And the outro, again, another one, and I need the 15 seconds of whatever song that is, whether that's a collaboration with Omar and her, or if it's just her, I need it. If it's already out, please send me the link, because I can't find it. Following that, we have Serio con SQ. This is with Manuel AA. I loved this when it was released as a single, and I went away from it because the rest of the album was so good, and I've come back to it. He said that Anuel had actually reached out about doing a Luces de Colores remix, but Omar had suggested this one and a few other tracks, and then this is the one that they went with, that they recorded together in Miami. But this one's like a reggaeton. Anuel references Tupac in it. I enjoy this one a lot. It's another one that kind of fits in all my different playlists. That's like a daily listen almost for me. And then finally, the 17th and final track on the album is Luces de Colores. This was released as a single, and I enjoy it. I like it a lot. Classic reggaeton, the reggaeton that we have now. He said that Luces de Colores is kind of like he was trying to preserve the essence of reggaeton, which we see throughout the album. We see that with Sex Playlist, Serio con SQ, a little bit with Musa Leva, a little bit with Tripeo, Alocate. You know, it's the essence of reggaeton, and what reggaeton always has been is very much infused throughout all these songs. But he says that they also tried to incorporate other sounds that inspire him. So it's like infused reggaeton with different colors. So I like that. I do. So yeah, Primera Musa is very much, as of February 7th, in rotation daily. The songs definitely change. But I'll tell you right off the bat right now, like today, what I listened to on my run was Heavy, Pienso en Sexo, Goddess, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like gaslighting myself into believing that that outro was actually gone, 2K16, Que Vas a Hacer Hoy, and Serio con SQ. But I also listened to, because obviously I've known Omar Courtz for a while. I've known him from Beachy, I've known him from Cuerpo a Cuerpo. I didn't realize I knew him from Ten Cuidado with Pitbull, El Alfa, Farruko, and I Am Chino. But apparently I did. I've obviously listened to him from Verdad on Bad Bunny's Debí Tirar Más Fotos. But I've gone and I've listened to a couple more of his songs, and there's some that I really, really like that are like a bit older. So Garachin with Brian Myers is another one that I've been listening to recently. Kyoto with De La Rose and Hayes. Amandita with Young Miko, that gets a daily play. That does get a daily play. Donde Carajo, Donde CRJ. It's Car Beats, Mora, J. Co, Jan Block. That was the past 2 days. That's been a daily listen. And Eso es un vibe. That's been a daily listen. It's very much like New York hip hop. I say New York hip hop because he references Biggie, and once he said Biggie, like I can't get that out of my mind. If I type in Omar Courtz, some other songs that I have in my library: En Bajita, Justin Quiles, Nati Natasha, Me Dice Daddy. That's Omar Courtz too? Holy crap, that's Darrell. En Alta, J Balvin, Mambo Kings, Young Jimmy, Juego, Nessie La Meta Maestra, Yandel, and Omar Courtz. Pa Siempre, that's Omar Courtz too. Tiny, Arrancal, Jayco, Mike Towers, and Omar Courtz. Me Pone Mal, that's Pitbull. Los Dueños de la Calle, Jayco, Davey, Omar Courtz, featuring Mike Towers, Young Jimmy. D&D, Neo Garcia, Los G40, Bray, Doble C, Con Cojones, Brian Myers, De La Ghetto, Omar Courtz, Lil Jojo. I love Lil Jojo. Oh my god. And Young Miko, and I also have the original without the remix. Paola Asesinos, that's a single. Bonnie and Clyde remix, that's Isaac, Luar La L, and Omar Courtz. Payback, featuring Omar Courtz, the remix. I didn't know that. Devadorla, the remix. Another one. Gimmick and No Entiendo. Those are from Jayco's album. Yeah, I've been listening to those a lot too. We also have ETA, that's a new one. That's a new song. That's with Jan Block, De La Rose, Roa, and Luar La L. Margiela, another one I didn't realize I have. East Side, Stephanie Parfumal, Jet Ski, featuring Davey, Más Grande, Blessings, Los Costos, Exley, Vision, Damelu, Booty Call. Listen, it's a fire beat. Ascensor, Aunque Duermas Con Él, and Suelta, the new one from Mike Towers' Deluxe. So I guess I've been a fan of Omar Courtz for a while. This is a lot more than I realized that I had in my library. But yeah, really, Primera Musa has proven, at least to me, to be a really strong album that has come out in 2024. Really strong reggaeton album. I really do appreciate what he's trying to do and like the whole message behind the album, bringing reggaeton back to Puerto Rico, using the essence of other genres, but also paying homage to classic reggaeton, as well as experimenting. So I gotta give him props on that. I really do enjoy this album. I hope that you took something away from this episode, whether or not a song or two to go listen to. And as always, make sure you're following at Boomin with Bella on all social media. Like, subscribe, follow along wherever you are listening and or watching to stay updated on all things Boomin with Bella. Follow at Isabella Linez with 2 A's after Isabella if you want to keep up on some more fun stuff on TikTok, Instagram that's kind of Boomin with Bella related. Usually I'll repost on one account or the other. But also traveling. I'm going to Puerto Rico soon, so you can see more of that and like more from just my time there. And make sure to leave a 5-star rating to help push Boomin with Bella out to more people so we get more people in our fun little community. That's all I have for you guys today. I am so sorry for like the craziness of this, but yeah, stay tuned. I got more coming for you and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon.